Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nurse Studio. Here, we dive into nursing, medicine, and everything in between. Today, we're lifting the curtain on one of the calmest voices in the most critical spaces, Dr. Jude Perera, an anesthetist who's seen it all from behind the blue drapes. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Silvana.
So this man has got a very busy schedule. So it took us like 2 months
Yes.
to record this podcast. So this is a very important moment in our career.
Thank you.
So Jude, let's start from the beginning.
Mhm.
Who just tell us a little bit who are you
Okay.
and how did your journey into medicine unfold?
Okay. So I'm Jude. I'm from Sri Lanka, and so I've been doing medicine for quite some time. At present, I'm working as an anesthetist. I do ICU stuff, some stuffs, some work related to emergency medicine. Looking after the critically ill, things like that. So I'm based in the UK at the moment. Yeah.
So what made you decide what I want to do is medicine?
So both my parents back at home in Sri Lanka, they did practice medicine. My dad is still working, so he's doing anesthesia. I was following him even when I was a teenager. So sometimes, going into theaters, seeing what he did, and that eventually made me fall in love with what he did because he likes to tell stories, he likes to teach people, and I was liking the audience just listening. And I thought, this is a pretty cool job, and I just fell in love with it back when I was a teenager, and I thought, okay, this is the thing that I should do.
Yeah. Um. So your dad was a real inspiration.
Yes, that, and then later on, even when I was in mid school, the anesthesia program, it was quite good. So the teachers who were doing physiology and anesthesia, they were, well, the other teachers were okay as well, but these professors and the other lecturers, they spoke in a way that made you fall in love with the subject. So when it comes to physiology and things like the basics of anesthesia, they were taught really really well, I think. And that's one thing that made me learn a little bit more about anesthesia and then follow it as a career.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what did your mom do?
So she did medical administration, so she was looking at the administrative part of the hospital. She did want to do anesthesia at one point, but then she was pregnant with me, so she couldn't actually pursue that career. So she also said, maybe you can take my place. I didn't do this, so you could do it instead of me, so we can even out the numbers. So yeah, that is something that she did tell me, but she didn't push me to do it.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
my
yeah.
dad, he didn't. But I don't know, I just gradually fell into this stream, and I felt really comfortable. I knew surgery was not the thing for me, and I was not a person to do any laboratory work. Otherwise, pathology and microbiology were also some things high on the cards. I like psychiatry, but
You like psychiatry. My God,
yes,
that's something I didn't know.
but it would have been a little bit too much for me because I had to leave physiology, and that's something that I really like. How the body works and how we can manipulate certain things with bodily functions with drugs. Even the state of anesthesia, it's a mystery to me still. And every time a patient goes to sleep, I think to myself, this is wonderful. I feel that it's something that because anesthesia has developed to where it is now, surgeons were able to come up as well. If by any chance anesthesia was lagging behind, it would have pulled even certain surgical techniques down with it as well. So developments in anesthesia, something really important, I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah. So I originally thought
Hmm.
that your granddad has inspired you to become an anesthetist.
Uh, so my granddad, so my mom's father, I was with him when I was a child, especially because dad and mom, they were busy. So I was with my maternal grandparents. So my granddad, he was an engineer, and he was very methodical. So he's like really old school. He got up at around 4 in the morning. By 6 a.m., he's listening to the news, reading the newspaper. He had his own little library. So he inspired me to read and not to spend too much time on TV and things like that. So he introduced me to somewhat of an intellectual life, not an academic life, but to be an intellectual, to read, to study, to spend time contemplating, not to waste too much of time. Back then, I thought maybe it was a little bit too much, but
Mm.
then back in the day, I mean, we were people who, kids back at that time, they were quite, if it was obedience, if we were told to do something, we did it. But I feel it helped me. So my granddad really did want me to do medicine, but anesthesia is something that crept in during the teenage
Yeah.
years.
It just came.
Yes.
So a little bit more of your hidden side.
Okay.
Could you tell me? Could you tell us an unexpected hobby or life motto that you have?
Okay. For some time, I've been reading a lot of books. Whenever I get a chance to read or some time off work, even when I'm at home, I like to read good books. So mainly it's not fiction, non-fiction, and very recently I've fallen in love with books written by an author called Albert Ellis. So sadly, he's passed away. He used to be a very prominent psychologist in America, and he introduced certain ideas that we collectively now call REBT, or rational emotive behavioral therapy. So that's something that I'm really into these days, and I read a couple of books written by this author, and I'm really taken up. So these days, when I'm away from anesthesia and when I get some free time at home, I tend to read things about REBT. It talks about a lot of nice things, things that will help us accept certain things in life. So, for example, he gives us three main rules in his so-called therapy called REBT. It's related to cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, but it has its differences.
Right.
So basically, it has a lot of philosophy involved. It's related to little bit to Buddhism, to Stoicism, and also maybe has some features that it shares with CBT. So the three rules are unconditional self acceptance, unconditional other acceptance, and unconditional acceptance of the world. So he mentions that most of the problems that people face, the things that gives rise to depression, anger, and things like that, are associated with shoulds, musts, godlike demands that we have on ourselves, on other people, and the world around us. So just acceptance, it doesn't mean that we could accept everything and let the havoc run around us and chaos go
Mm.
around, but
Yeah.
still there are things that we can control, things that we can't, and to accept. Also, he looks at the goodness that we have in each and every one of us. So maybe if we do something wrong, it's the act that is wrong, not the individual.
Right.
So you accept yourself unconditionally, but you can put down the bad acts that you have performed and things like that. So with this, what he thinks is that you can just um, so something that I think he believes, or maybe I'm quoting him correctly, is that um, pain is something that you will have to go through in life. pain involving certain things regarding to yourself, other people, the world. But then suffering is something that is really optional. Suffering is not something that we need to go through, and it's all to do with your beliefs. So if you believe, if you have a very good belief system, you see things as they are, you don't need to be unhappy.
That's such a good. So Jude is a storyteller. If it wasn't an anesthetic doctor, he would definitely be a storyteller because you just drive into the stories he tells. He also knows everything about everything. So, and it's not just a basic knowledge, it's still a deep knowledge, like excellence.
Thank you.
It's true. So, what surprised you the most when you started working in anesthesia?
uh, Well, I did think so back in Sri Lanka when we were practicing anesthesia. I had this notion that we had a lot of time with patients, to talk with them,
Mm.
to get to know them before we go ahead with the anesthetic. And it's true even here. But the real case is we don't have much time with the patients. So that is something that really surprised me. So over the years, I knew that time was precious because most of the time, when a patient has been given an anesthetic, they'll either be deep asleep, they'll be sedated, or they even if they were awake, they'll be focusing on what the surgeon is doing. So we have very little time before the surgical procedure or when the anesthetic begins. So using that time to the maximum was something that I learned over the years, so that we can gain the patient's confidence and to let the patient know that we are their advocate. The anesthetist is always there for the patient, and I'm sure all the other categories of staff same. But then I always let them know when I am assessing them and doing the basic checklist that we'll be by their side before the procedure, during and after the procedure, and make sure that everything is okay.
So, imagine I'm going to under a surgery now,
Mhm.
and you're my anesthetist.
Yes.
So, what would you tell me? What's your standard say? Like, oh, think about nice things. This is
Yes.
gonna happen. What would you say?
Okay, so we do talk about that as well. If they are going to go to sleep, just immediately we'll tell them we are going to put them to sleep, and we'll ask them to think about nice things. I've never had anesthesia ever, so all the procedures done on my body have been local. So I have never been asleep I've never had that so-called privilege. But I always tell the patients beforehand, before they come to the theater table, that it's okay to be anxious, that it's okay for them to feel afraid, and that there's no way that we can push these feelings underneath the carpet, because whatever we say, it might not change the thought pattern, but for them to embrace the anxiety and embrace the fear, and if possible have faith in the anesthetist that we will give them a very good anesthetic to make sure that they are deep asleep if it is a general anesthetic, and that they will feel no pain, and that everything will be okay. So that is what I would tell them. That is always something that I would put in the conversation between myself and the patient,
Yeah,
just to tell them that it's okay, because sometimes people think that I shouldn't be feeling this, so I
yeah.
yeah, but I would always tell them it's okay. Even if I was in your place, I will be afraid, but something that I would tell them is to have faith, and let us look after things, and for them to be relaxed, and even if they are not, that it's totally okay.
Yeah. So, I used to work a lot with dementia.
Mhm.
This, I promise, this is related. So, basically, I first thing I tried to know was all about me, forms, or even take the information from them.
Mhm.
And um, I was under surgery and under anesthesia one day,
Mhm.
general
Mhm.
anesthesia. So this, well, I was a child. So this doctor got the information from me, like what did I like to do, if I like to sing, if I like to do this and this and this. Just before the anesthesia, he was like, "Do you remember our chat? Do you remember you like dogs or this moment, da da da. Just think about that very intensively.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be just fine. And then with this calming voice, I suddenly start going off.
Okay.
And I was just like, when I woke up, obviously you're stressed because I was a kid and
Yes.
I was full of
Yes.
blood because it was like on my nose and ears and everything. So I was just like, okay. But at least during that time, it made me a bit more relaxed.
Yes. Yes. But that is
So
something that we would say.
I was very
Very.
curious
Yeah.
to know what would you say. So, so I created a special segment for Dr. Jude Perera. Also, Perera is my granddad's name, so I will never forget that. And I wanted to know because obviously I know Jude for like a year and something.
Mhm.
So obviously we had a lot of chats in the blank um, spots that we had in our jobs. And the real reason why I've brought you here is not only to talk about like being an anesthetic and being a
Mhm.
doctor and this, but by being a medical, I wonder many times if there is still space to be spiritual in medicine. And obviously we work in systems, evidence, guidelines, protocol, but underneath all of that, do you think there is a space to be spiritual?
Um, yes, I think there is a space, but it's very subjective. So I have colleagues who are not, who don't believe much in spirituality,
Yeah.
and so when I think about it, maybe I can be wrong on this, but there is a spiritual side, and if there isn't a spiritual side, um, to certain things that happen, let's say in hospital, in our life, then it will all boil down to something called chance. So I don't know. I know that there is something called, probability, chance, things like that. But for me, I think yes, there is a spiritual dimension. But I'm not against people who would say, things. I've got a few colleagues who don't believe much in the spiritual aspects. They believe in chance. They believe in probability,
Statistics,
statistics, things like
audits.
that, and audits. Yes. So, but for me, I don't know. Maybe it's the way I've been raised, what I believe. Um, I do believe that there is a spiritual side, and it helps me to be a better anesthetist, maybe a better person. But is it essential? Well, I don't know how to answer that question.
Mm,
But for me, I think yes, having a spiritual dimension helps me a little bit better
yeah.
to cope with things.
So I know there was a moment
Mm-hmm.
that you told me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to share that one specifically, but you
Okay.
can share any other one.
Okay.
That you felt like there was a moment
Mm-hmm.
in your shift that you felt maybe this is a bit bigger than just medicine.
Yes, I can remember that. But then very recently, there was a moment where I felt the same, that this is
Really?
yes. So within the last couple of days, so what happened was, so I can't go into
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
deep
Detail.
details, but there was this lady who was undergoing a procedure, and she essentially had some sedation, but I think she was quite anxious and she was awake. She was not in any pain, but awake. So then she said, "Doctor, do you think we can, listen to some music?" So I was thinking, fine. So the surgeon is doing his thing. So I just took my phone, and then I asked the patient, do you want me to play a particular list or
Yeah.
something like that? But then the patient said, no, no, they surprised me. So then we were listening to some music. I think it was, I don't know, maybe Susan Boyle or somebody. I dreamed a dream or something like
Okay.
that. And then um, um, I felt that the patient was a little bit, she wanted to just hold my hand and, just to feel that things are okay. So I was playing a music list, holding the patient's hand, looking at the monitor, and that was it. But I felt that at that moment, more than any of the sedation I gave, what really helped was us having our chat, me holding the hand, and just playing the music. And at the end of that playlist, the surgery was over, the patient was comfortable. But at one point, the patient did go off to sleep as well, but then waking intermittently. But I was lost in my thoughts, and I was thinking, um, this is not bad. True, we've got the medicine running, things are okay, everything's stable, but the patient needed a little bit more, and that little bit more couldn't be given by the anesthesia that we had. Everything was in place, everything was perfect, but what was needed was a little bit of verbal
Yeah.
communication, the physical touch, and the music. So it was not only Susan Boyle, I think it was Paul Anka.
Psychologist, DJ, and anesthetist, all in the same procedure.
Yes, yeah, that was a good experience. It did get me thinking just a bit. Yeah, I didn't sing though. Yeah, but yeah, things went really well. I'm sure the patient was happy.
What about the other story in trauma call you had?
I can't remember that story now,
Really?
but maybe if we have a part two for this segment, I will remember it and I'll come up with it. Or if I remember it later on.
Yeah. I can remind you a little
Oh,
bit.
please do. Yes.
So, what you said, it was like one of your top bosses, doctors,
Mm-hmm.
has asked you, you don't need to, but if you could attend to this trauma call downstairs in resus, and then you're really busy, and then you just had a quick look through the chart of this
Okay.
patient,
Mm-hmm.
and you saw one of the pictures, and that picture clicked in your brain, and you're like, no, but this symbol, he had a symbol or a necklace or something. Oh, it was a necklace.
Okay.
I think of a saint.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I can remember that just a bit. So yes, I remember it now.
Good.
Okay. So this particular
I was feeling like a stalker telling you
no,
what
no,
the
I
story
remember it now. It's a good story. So this particular patient was actually ventilated and awaiting transport to CT and back, and everybody knew that I had to go back to theaters. So I was actually out of theaters helping,
was. Yeah.
which is something that we usually do in anesthetics.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, okay, now I have to go to theaters, and at the same time, we've got people here. They are really capable, really good. They can do this transport to CT and back. But then I did see on the patient a medal of a particular Christian saint. I think it's Saint Christopher.
Yeah.
And then I remembered, Saint Christopher in that medal shows that he's carrying a baby across a river. And it's actually, he's carrying the baby Jesus, I think, across the river. So he's actually the patron saint of people who are going on journeys. And then I thought, okay, the answer is very clear. It should mean that I should take this patient for CT and back. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this transport. I'm going to take the patient to CT and back, and then I'll go about my business in theaters. So I don't know. I mean, if you were to think about that incident itself, without a spiritual dimension, maybe I would have just walked away thinking, somebody else can do this.
Yeah.
And there are people, and
Because
they're
there was
really good
enough people on the
enough, and the
space.
patient was very safe.
Yeah.
But thinking about it in a spiritual way, I thought, okay, somebody is talking to me, and I'm going to do this. So I did take the patient, brought him back. Things were good, and I just went back to my usual workplace.
Yeah.
Is that a good story?
That is I thought that was a very good story. In the moment, I was very touched.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, listening to the do it again, it makes you like, I don't know, think twice. Um, Obviously, we're still a human. In with That's our job. We need to be professional, but in the
Yes.
end of the day, we're just like, we feel connected to more people than to another, but we're still professional and still do the same job.
Yes.
But obviously, it takes a bit more of us. We put a bit more of our
Yes.
soul salt on it.
Yes.
So I love that this job is a bit more than just a monitor. And sometimes the most powerful thing in theater is the human presence
Yes.
and communication.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. Uh, Unfortunately, we reached to the last part of our podcast,
Mm-hmm.
which is quick fire round. So we need to be fast, fun, and chill.
Okay.
Right, Jude? You
Yes,
ready?
I'm ready.
Before we let you go, this is Nurse Studio quick fire round. I hope you're ready.
Ready.
Ready?
Yes.
Right. Fire. Coffee or adrenaline?
Um, Adrenaline. But if there was a third choice, it will be Red Bull.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to be clear. Favorite scrub color?
Black. But I've never worn black. I would wish it to be a black, maybe a darker color than I'm wearing at the moment.
Okay. One thing you always double check before a procedure?
So correct patient, correct procedure, correct site. Have I got all the drugs ready, including the emergency drugs? And are we all ready as a team?
Good point.
Mhm.
A hospital smell you secretly like or you can't stand?
Okay, secretly like would be surgical spirits. I'm not sure whether it's used now, but I like the smell of surgical spirits, and also diethyl ether. Yeah.
Okay. What is one you can't stand?
Uh, can we pass?
Right. Theater playlist, silence or music?
So when things get tough, I think you need to focus a little bit more. So silence. But when things are going well, maybe Teddy Swims, Queen,
Okay. Post-op or pre-op vibes?
post-op.
Go to comfort meal after a long shift?
Mm, hot chocolate, maybe?
Oh yeah. That's not a meal.
Yes. Maybe a Marmite sandwich with cheese.
Oh my god, you're a Marmite fan. I can't. This friendship ends here.
Okay.
One myth about anesthetics that needs to go.
Okay. So I've seen a couple of cartoons about anesthetists. Them. So the patient is asleep and they are going on social media, doing things on the laptop. So I think that's false. So usually when the patient is asleep is when the anesthetist should be quite busy with the medication, looking at the monitor, having an eye on the surgical field,
Yeah.
blood loss, things like that. Giving that particular care. So it's like a plane that is actually on air.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
so nothing on autopilot. So I think that's a myth that we should dispel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Constant blood gases and all sorts of things.
Definitely, constant monitoring of the patient and our presence, their mind and body is vital. So no social media and definitely nothing on the no hopping to the laptop.
Mm. One word to describe life in theater.
Uh, Maybe focused is something I'd like to say. Yeah, life in theater should be focused, geared towards patient safety.
Recovery or ICU?
Definitely recovery. I don't want, yeah, ICU is fun, but definitely recovery.
Yeah. Past or future, where would your time travel?
Past, a particular time, maybe 33 AD. Yes.
All right.
I can mention the place, but it's okay. 33 AD
What is
past.
this 33 AD?
So I'll give a hint. Just check. The place I'd want to be is somewhere, near Nazareth, Golgotha, somewhere like that.
Thank you. Thank you for showing us calm under pressure. Looks like for reminding us all that behind every machine, every sterile drape, there is still a heart, a beating heart. To all of our listeners, whether you're pre reg, post grad, or somewhere in the middle, keep showing up as you are. This is Nurse Studio, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.